I vacuum fill mine.
It's the fastest way to do it.
If I can't, I'll jack it up and I'll crack open the steam port and I'll fill up the radiator and then I'll see come out of the steam port and then I'll crank it back.
Oh,
and then
that's pretty smart.
Cool thing about the Davies system is if you kick it on and you just hold these two buttons, it will do a bleed cycle and it'll start bleeding the whole system. It'll max out everything, fans and all that. And I just leave that running. I'll just sip some beers and topping it off.
All right, so I bought a vacuum bleeder. I have it's not here yet, but when it gets here, I have its own box because my car is rear mount radiator. I'm sure you have a swirl pot and all that shit.
No.
You just have what, an expansion and that's all?
No. Oh yeah, expansion tank and that's it. So should we talk about that setup? How like rear mount is?
If you want,
my rear mount isn't like, I know like Eric Mullins like is kind of it's super it's really super excessive.
Yeah,
it's I don't have that
sick,
issue,
but it's
my radiator's from a Scirocco. So
he said he ordered his like offline. It's like 4-core and it's fucking, I'm telling you, I was up next to the car. It's like this wide.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's unnecessary. Yeah. No offense to Eric, I love you, but it's no, like I mine's from a Volkswagen Scirocco. It's a dual pass. And, you know, obviously the Spall fans do most of the work. And then the pump is controlled by Davies Greg, and they have their own unit that like controls the pump speed. So it does like duty cycles. It'll like do, 5 seconds off, 10 seconds on, type of whatever. So there's no thermostat needed. It's just goes up to dash 16 ANs to the engine, and then it splits off to 12 dash 12s into the block. And those
like Y blocks?
Yeah.
So 16 down to 12 into the block?
Into the Y block, and then 12s into the block. So 16, Y block, 12. And So in the end, like in the end, like you spend a lot of money on fittings. If I could, I would do like, I think it's like 316. I think he makes like some dash 16s that go into the LS. I don't know if he does. He doesn't do like a big, he doesn't make a big number of them. But when he does, like he sells out. He waits like another year before he like replenishes them. But if I could do it again, I would do like a dash 16 in and out like that. But there's not enough room. But the Davies Greg pretty much controls the fans and the pump, and there's no thermostat needed. So the car warms up quick. It'll like,
because it's off, or the pump knows it's off.
It'll cycle a pump. It'll like be off for 10 seconds and then run for 5 seconds, and then shut off for another 10. And, do that thing until. So whatever temperature you put on it, it'll do. I've never had it. Like I put 170, it'll do 170. If I want 200, it'll do 200. It like controls everything.
Cool.
I don't have to
even after a run.
Yeah. That thing like I've never had overheating. The only time I ever overheated is when a relay went bad. So
wow.
So like full tilt, awesome. You leave the line. Let's say you're commanding 160 in the radiator, and then you do the run. When you're done,
it's 160. And then so like it's 150.
That's fucking sick.
Yeah, it's 150 gallons per or 150 liters per hour. So it's not the fastest, but it's enough.
Well,
I've never had issues.
It smart. Works,
yeah, I've never had an issue with it. It was kind of a shot in the dark because it was when I was doing the 2J thing. I had that.
Damn, that's cool.
So I was like, well, it's going to handle. And they're like, oh, it should be good for 600 horse on a 2J. A 500 horse LS is no big deal. So just kind of went with it, and it freaking hells up. So
that's badass.
Fans do obviously the most work.
Sure.
The pump, I've never had an issue. The only issue I've ever had with the controller, I had the old controller, and now they went to like a new LCD display.
Yeah.
So it tells me everything. It has like fault codes, and it'll tell me when it's running, the fans or the pump or anything else. It'll tell you everything on this display. Pretty cool thing. It's like only $400 too for this pump and the module. Yeah, never had an issue with like cooling on that aspect, on having a rear mount and all that stuff. The only thing I do have is the steam port is teed into that Y pipe going into the dash 16 thing. that little Y thing. I just had I tapped it and just kind of put a line through there. So when I do fill it, like how you fill yours, vacuum fill, I vacuum fill mine. But
it's the fastest way to do it. I was just saying,
the best way.
If someone was to hit me and I was able to get another radiator, which I could, I couldn't get it back together unless I had a vacuum bleeder. That was the only reason I bought it. Because it won't. If
I can't, I'll jack it up and I'll crack open the steam port and I'll fill up the radiator and then I'll see shit come out of the steam port and then I'll crank it back.
Oh,
and then
that's pretty smart. I didn't try that.
Well, the cool thing about the Davies system is if you kick it on and you just hold these two buttons, it will do a bleed cycle. And it will start bleeding the whole system. It'll max out everything, fans and all that. So cool. After a certain type, it'll do that. And I just leave that running. I'll just keep going. I'll just sip some beers and just keep topping it off.
Wait till he sees how mine's done, dude. Mine's so caveman.
So not that.
It's just stock truck LS hose. Like I got new, but cut them, and then it runs down to a LS fitting side that turns into 16AN, and then 16AN is on the fitting side. That way, if I ever had to change the water pump, I didn't have to weld anything. That's the only reason why. And the stock LS pump moves 55 gallons liters per hour.
Yeah.
So we're in the same boat. So on flow. The thing is, mine flows whenever it wants on command.
It's smart, and it's like hunting a temperature where mine is just on all the time.
Yeah,
it's probably got a worm gear in it. Does an LS water pump have a worm gear in it? Probably.
Fuck if I know.
Put in the comments. Let us know.
Call us out, baby.
So I did get a normal pump for the giveaway motor. So I don't know. I just got that and put it on there, and obviously it's a G8. So I got a G8 pump.
It's probably the same. Most of them have the big bell.
This isn't. This is very shallow, so I think it's a Corvette or G8.
Is it square or is it bell shaped?
It's very square.
Oh, then it's
very shallow.
It could be
because I bought the ATI stub for it, and I got an F body one, and I was like, it's way shorter than that.
Yeah, F body
is way shorter.
So you run ICT billet stuff?
I do.
Mm-hmm. You know what I run? Corvette stuff. It's the 99 Corvette stuff. It's the most stocked stuff that O'Reilly's keeps besides truck parts.
No offense to ICT billet, but I still had to modify their stuff for my setup.
Yeah, because I had
to put a tensioner on mine.
It's not that I hate them, but it's just overcomplicated. There's spacers, and you got to hold stuff up, and I'm just I'm like a point and shoot person.
When I redo mine, I'm TIG welding all those spacers onto the brackets.
See, and all that's the move. That's smart. I didn't think about doing that.
Those were so annoying. When I first did it, and I took everything apart, and they fell in the ground. I'm like, fuck.
And then you're by yourself. Right?
I'm like, I got no photos or anything.
You're alone. You're trying to hold it up there and get them started.
I'm trying to zip tie everything together.
Yeah, you got it zipped in there, and then you got to hold the piece up, and you're like.
Yeah, I did this during during the shop being built, so I did it in the trailer, so with the little shop heater and all that, and then that fell, and it's just all those spacers just rolled out to the back of the trailer. I'm like, fuck, I don't know what size is what anymore, so we'll find out later.
That's really smart though. Actually, I don't know why I wouldn't have thought of that. My brother has a TIG welder.
You guys should just do a service. Just TIG weld them for us. You know?
Just do the thing.
I'll pay $100 more. I don't care. To do that.
Yeah.
If I just have to just put it on there and just put some bolts in, and not have to fiddle around with all this bullshit. Yeah, I'll pay $100 more.
Me too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There you go. ICD billet. Do it.